Hi, boys and girls. I hope that you enjoyed the book and that you're ready to really move forward with our assessment and review. So, for today, the first thing that you're going to do is you are going to complete the do now. So, this is just kind of, the boys are young teenagers. Ponyboy just turned 14. How does their life as a greaser on the east side compare to your life here in Bensalem? I'm not sure any of you are greasers, but that's okay. All right, then you'll watch this video. That's the next slide. But then you have something very important. We have this plot diagram and our chapter summary. So let me go here. All right. So you're just going to review these. There's nothing for you to do other than take a look at, read over, follow along. So we have this. We've seen this before. Okay. And this was the last plot diagram that we had updated. So this was prior to the rumble and the fight. So we know that we start off the story with the Socs versus the Greasers, and Ponyboy gets jumped right away. First thing in the first part of the book. Then they go to the drive-in and they meet Cherry Valance, and we know that Daly is really nasty and has foul language and is inappropriate with her, and Johnny sticks up for him. And we now know that Daly really loved Johnny, but that Johnny never stood up to anyone, and nobody ever really stood up to Daly. But nothing happened when he did that. Um, Move forward, later that night, they fall asleep in the vacant lot. Ponyboy misses his curfew, goes home late. Derry, his brother, hits him, and he runs away. He runs back to the vacant lot, grabs Johnny, they run off to the park, and then they decide that they don't need to do that, and they kind of simmer down until they can cool down a bit. Or they're in the park. Blue Mustang pulls up, and it is Cherry Valance's boyfriend and other Socs. They get out. They start to drown Ponyboy. At that point, Johnny stabs and kills Bob, who is the greaser who beat him up prior to the start of the book. The boys go and they find Daly at Buck Merrill's house. They get some money and clothes and a gun, and they then hop on a freight train. Daly visits the boys in Windrixville, and they go to Dairy Queen. When they return from the church, everything is on fire. Ponyboy and Johnny, without hesitation, go help rescue the school children who were picnicking and went into the church. Johnny and Daly both get hurt. Daly goes in to get Johnny, which is how he got hurt. The boys go to the hospital. So that's kind of where we were at the last time we took a look at our plot diagram. And we've already reviewed the exposition and the conflicts that we have. So let's take a look at, we have one more rising action that I didn't include on the previous page. So at the hospital, Ponyboy is reunited with his brothers. He's weaker than before. He's a little bit sick, but he hides it because he just wants to participate in the upcoming rumble. So we're going to have all the greasers and all the Socs fight with one another. And this is the big rumble. And this is our climax of our story, at top of our roller coaster, our most exciting part. So the Socs and the greasers have a huge rumble. Daly sneaks out of the hospital. He used this knife to get out. And him and Ponyboy, because they're the weakest two, kind of gang up on each other, and they end up winning. The greasers win. Ponyboy and Daly then rush to the hospital to let Johnny know that they won. Johnny hears that they won. He tells Ponyboy to stay gold, and then he dies. Daly can't take it. He leaves the hospital. He goes and robs a store, and then calls the boys to meet him. They go running to meet him, and the cops are on the other side of him. So it's the boys on one side, Daly in the middle, the cops on the other side. And Daly pulls out his gun. Now, we know that the gun's unloaded. He says he never has it loaded, but the police don't know that. So they then kill Daly in front of the gang. Okay, that's our climax, our holy smokes moment, right? So you go to the next slide, we have our following action. So the first one is that Ponyboy is sick and in bed for some time. He's grieving the loss of his friends as well as his parents. So he's just kind of like, he's sick, he's out of it, he's not okay. And then our second event is Randy, Bob's best friend, comes to visit Ponyboy to discuss the upcoming court case. Okay, remember he says that his father tells him just to tell the truth and to not and that it was just the socias were in the wrong, essentially. So then we have our resolution, which is really all of chapter 12. So we know that the judge decides that Ponyboy and his brothers can stay together. He also decides that Ponyboy and Johnny were just acting in self-defense, so they are acquitted. And then a Ponyboy has to write an essay, which they call a theme back in that time. And he writes the story that we just read. So the story starts off right at the beginning. Okay. So that was our plot diagram. And then here we have our chapter summaries. So this, of course, is you already have access to all of this. I'm actually going to push all this out as well. All right, so just go through. It has the rival gangs. We have our characters. We have our chapter summaries. Some are in one part, some are in two. So just go through and review if needed, okay? This is going to be kind of like, your little sub notes, okay? So make sure you go through, even though chapter 12 was read in one day, I did split it into two. All right. So then in today's lesson, you're going to do this outsider Quizlet review, but take a look at it. I want you to take a screenshot of either a practice, like a test, or a game. So let's go to the Quizlet review. All right. So we have here we are right here. So you can either play Match Gravity, or you can do a test. And then what you're going to do is you will just take the test after you hit submit, all the way down at the bottom, check your answers, and then just take a screenshot on your computer and you can paste it right into here or just send it to me in a Schoology message. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, come see me in Zoom.